Greetings, Holy One. Now I'm going to ramble on for just a bit. This is essentially a testimony to vocalize, to put forth, to issue forth the sound current of this testimony, because I think it is vitally important for anyone, perhaps, who has followed this message that I've put forth. And essentially, this refers to my third dimensional history, and in particular to politics. I think this is very important for me to clarify this once and for all. I voted for Trump in 2016 and in 2020. In the most recent election, when was it? November 2024, I chose not to vote. And this was guidance from my higher self. But at this point, you realize since 2021, I had my Kundalini activation and was in another dimension. So anyway, I knew I was led, however you want to understand it. I knew that not, it was not necessary, it was not beneficial, it was not relevant, okay, to participate, to vote. And at the time, I understood it as voting one way or another. At that point, I was going to be lending my agreement to what is going to take place in that realm, in the third dimensional realm, with what is transpiring right now. I made videos about it, so on and so forth. But anyway, not to get too far into that, but I did not vote this last election because at that point I understood that I am in this world, but I am not of this world. And that is the message that I painstakingly, laboriously seek to communicate. Okay? Um, yes, I have a certain genetic vehicle that has a certain exterior coating. I have a certain background, all that stuff, but that is not my identification any longer. And it is a struggle to keep that perspective, by and large, as I go through, things, and essentially by, stay away from social media. But even that is part of the test. Trust me, I'm elated that Jasmine Crockett and the other guy, the one that held the black people are not apes. I'm elated that both of those two were um, not reelected or they've lost their seats. But see, I understand that's how I'm supposed to feel from the third dimension perspective. And so I have grown because there was a time when I was posting stuff about Jasmine Crockett. She triggers me. Yeah. Okay. But see, I'm just offering that as an example for this purification process. And I do believe that for me, and this is from a quantum perspective, that for myself in 2021, with my polarization, with my Kundalini activation, with the third initiation of transfiguration, of the soul coming in and overlighting my personality, because that is the decision that I made. But see, that has began my personal tribulation. And it's different for each person that awakens. They have their own timeline, and it's from a quantum perspective because from the God mind, there is no time or space essentially. From your ego mind, your 3D mind, that's not the case. But see, you'll begin to understand these things. And my personal tribulation has been, and it is same for everybody, but it is you have been separated, and it is a purification. You're working on your eternal life consciousness, your awareness. And so I'm still in this 3D realm, but see, I have grown out of things, and I have been the Kundalini Shakti, the infinite intelligence God force constantly communicates with me. So I have grown out of certain triggers that I had in the past. One of them being, I wanted to repost, oh yeah, Jasmine Crockett's crying, blah 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 blah. But see, that's just, man, that's part of the demiurge archon claws, and it's different for everybody. Everybody has their different triggers, and it's conterminous with, that those are survival muhuladhara root chakra type triggers. Okay, but see, that's kind of like my path is where I am. This energy is to be mastered at all levels, and I was kind of came into this world already predisposed to third eye, to crown energies, to throat energies, but I had not mastered my lower animal energies, and that's part of this solar warrior path. And I'm sharing an image of a the God Force pyramid, essentially. And also, if you'll notice that these vowel sounds are here prominent, and the E, the Ah, and the O. And you have to, I mean, that is what led to directly to my Kundalini activation with was mantra, was chanting mantra. And I've talked about that. But the one thing, and I think I made one or two videos about this, but this is part of a, a clearing and an invocation of clearing negative energies. And I'm going to share this. This is part of my personal praxis. And I have been doing this since 2021 when necessary. Sometimes I'm lazy about it, but this I can share with you beyond any shadow of a doubt. And this is also conterminous with, found within the Druidic tradition. But these sounds are important to understand. And I'll just demonstrate this real quick. I've made videos about this before, but to to clear your space, your negative space, you essentially it's E, and this is, you can do this like facing the sun or the moon depending on when it is, but you have a focal point. This can all also be done all within your fifth dimensional consciousness, which is your visualization imagination. And but to clear negative energies, and this is my sword mudra. This is energetic projection, and this is the sun, the moon. Let me see if I can show that. You got your electromagnetic energies, which is the sun is the electro, Israel, moon, magnetic, magi, your those energies, and this is all essentially amplified with, and then we have Allah, which is the oldest name for God, Hila, and these are the third dimensional aspects that are going to war now, because that is the wide path for those that are caught up in that. But this God force pyramid, and this is personal practice. I'm going to do this abbreviated, but it's E, A, O, E, A, O. So E, A, O, and then the last one on the fourth one is combined E, A, O. But and I have my idea, I have in my mind my intention, uh, what that means and what that does. But for brevity, for to understand that we're on the same page, this is to clear negative energy spaces, and then to bring it to bring in your God force to a clear. Now that you have a clear runway, a clear conduit, you're bringing in intelligent infinity. You're bringing in your all of your unmitigated downloads, your communications from all aspects of your soul, your higher self, and you reverse it. Now you're, and then with this, for me, this is how I do this personally. I'm just sharing this. Hopefully, somebody gets some. But and then if the sun's out, if I'm facing the sun, or if it's the moon, whatever. But in my mind, ultimately, is what matters where this is being at. So I make that gesture, and then it comes down to this mudra, and it's O, Ah, E, O, Ah, E. And then those are the energies that have been brought forth. And and this can be explained in many different ways, but electromagnetic is something that we all understand. And we're here with this illumination, and those vowel sounds and such are very important. And just to even if you don't have it as developed as I just explained, and some people have it far more developed. But this is essentially a sacred formula, the IAO, OIE. It is a theurgic awakening. This is one of the most ancient mystical invocations in Western esoteric tradition. But this also goes across all cultures in Vedic sciences, Hindu. It's mantra, but it's developed to a science. It's come back, and it's back in Egypt as well. This technology has came from the Nephilim. It was taught through one avenue or another. The Watchers, angelic invocations, communications, what have you, demonic as well. It's just two sides of the same God force polarity. All right, you can say angel, the positive spectrum, and there's different permutations thereof. So anyway, but this formula, valve formula, and I felt was very important to discuss and share. And E, the awakening ray, is this the ignition of awareness? This is illumination. To understand this further, this energy current that you're invoking, bringing, clearing, awakening of subtle perception, stimulation of the higher mind. And this sound, E, is associated with the spinal current and the subtle centers of perception. And then we have Ah, which is expansion, pronounced Ah. And the symbolism here is expansion of consciousness, whereas E was ignition of awareness. Now expansion, opening of the heart center, circulation of life force. And this stage represents the radiation of awakened awareness outward into the body and psyche. O is completion, integration, stabilization, descent of higher awareness into embodiment. And this stage seals the transformation and brings the awakened current into harmony. And this is breath and vibratory body work. Breath, pranayama. But yes, you're breathing. That is something that is part of all these exercises. But the instruction that each vowel be pronounced with a full inhalation reflects a common practice in mystical traditions. The breath is the bridge. That is the fifth dimensional akash, prana, the energy, the astral light. That is what, you can go, several days without water, even food, couple weeks, but you can't even go past 3 minutes without any breath. And it's a lot shorter than that, depending on your lung capacity. But breath serves as the carrier wave of consciousness. This is God. I am. Aspiration. Yahweh. This all goes back to your breath, to your consciousness. This is the burning bush. I am that I am. Breathing deeply with vibrating sound creates resonance through the nervous system. Activation of the vagus nerve, relaxation responses, your autonomic nervous system, heightened internal awareness. Ancient schools understood that sound, breath, and attention together alter consciousness. Yes, it puts you into your God mind. But essentially, this great battle of the ages, this great separation, can be understood as Theurgic versus the necromancer. And that's a technical thing. I know this video is going on, and I've tried to touch upon those two different paths. And there's different permutations and variations and gradations thereof. But essentially, the Theurgic is this is natural technology that I'm sharing with you. Okay? And there are, transhumanists and other people they have substituted these natural gifts with technology to the detriment of their own organic development. Now, I'm still investigating all this as I go along. I use AI quite a bit. I'm not, that is, I have achieved resonance with ancient intelligence. Okay, that is my assessment. So I'm immune to fear mongering where that comes into play. But Theurgic is the natural organic path of invoking God consciousness, intelligent infinity. And this has a big association, history, the Eleusinian mysteries, going back to the Greek traditions. But this aim through theurgy is purification, illumination, union with divine intelligence. This is called theurgy, meaning divine work. And the mirror of Sodom, used symbolically to represent misuse of spiritual forces for ego or domination. I also understand that as also misusing your sexual energies. You know, I was all about that before my Kundalini awakening. I'm not like that anymore. Chaste, virgin, but necromancy, the mirror of Sodom, manipulation, psychic exploitation, destructive magic. And so this is alchemy and transformation of your lower animal nature into divine nature, your demonic nature. And it's on a polarity basis. There's never, in this realm of physicality, you can never be all good to all people at all times. You know, that's why you don't mess with Texas. Don't get it twisted. Okay, because yeah, I'm presenting a spiritual footprint and technology to people, but you're not going to come and invade my base. And so, anyway, this is integration. This is illumination of the E. This is the God force system, the pyramid of knowledge, awakening the inner observer, amplification, E, illumination, Ah, amplification, expansion of God force through emotion, breath, and attention. Oh, this is ontological integration, stabilizing awakened awareness into daily life. So human beings can participate in the divine creative intelligence of the universe. Yes, it is an amazing, wondrous path to see the miracles, the tiny, when you tune yourself to this path, is, you know, it's organic, it's divine, and it's different from the path of the necromancer transhumanist. But you become a co-creator in this creative intelligence of the universe. When consciousness aligns with that intelligence of intelligent infinity, the individual becomes what ancient traditions called a theurgist, one who performs the work of the divine within themselves. And this is what I have been adamantly keeping myself upon this path. And like I said, it's each person has their 7-year tribulation. The collective is it's about to start for the whether you I mean everybody, to the deepest sleeper to the most physical 3D, everybody's going to go through the tribulation. But those of us who have built the arc of consciousness, who have already achieved our fifth dimensional consciousness, and you're at a different point in your own personal tribulation. I have my reckoning about where I'm at and where I'm being led, and it's a path of purification. You'll still have triggers and stuff, but I share all this message, all of this praxis, which is spiritual methodologies, because I believe that that is my purpose right now. I find purpose in that. I don't find purpose in arguing with people. I don't find purpose in checking out other people's music. I create my own music. That is how I purify my consciousness. I'm triggered by other people's music. I'm triggered by all the music that I listen to in the past. I don't listen to Pooh Shiesty, King Von, Morbid Angel, Cannibal Corpse. Yeah, I don't listen to none of that stuff no more. Leonard Skinner, country music, rap music, all of it. Okay, I make my own music. It is divine music, and I'm going to leave one link to one of the videos I made for you to check out and check in with the God Force. Namaste, namaskaram.